I've been playing Dark Souls since the release of Dark Souls 3 back in 2016. I was a freshman in high school, and my mental state wasn't all okay. I'd been suffering with bad depression all year long, and I kinda kept to myself about it most of the time, playing League of Legends and a few other games, but mainly League. I would occasionally hear about the monolith that was Dark Souls 1 on YouTube and Reddit, but I'd always been too intimidated by the hyped up difficulty that after trying it once back in 2014, I couldn't kill the Taurus demon, and I just kinda gave up. In April 2016, a really good friend of mine was telling me about Dark Souls 3, and it strangely enough caught my attention. Just the way he was describing it, it was an open expanse of a world, and how gratifying it was to be able to defeat something you put hours and hours into. It sounded amazing. So after that, I decided to pick up the game. As soon as I started up the game, I heard the startup music that just honestly to this day will bring chills down my spine. It is so amazing, and it just strikes a chord in my brain and in my back that brings chills to me. I couldn't tell if I was nervous or beyond excited to play this game that I've seen so much about on IGN, on YouTube, on Reddit, heard through the school. So I decided to jump completely in. After starting it, it completely engulfed me. I couldn't stop it. Whether it was being in class at school, listening to VaatiVidya's lore series that just captivated me, at the painstaking care they put into making this world feel so alive and amazing, and everything just combines together like a big spider web, and I couldn't stay away. The combination of the music, atmosphere, and sheer beauty of the world, it honestly just had me in awe. I could unknowingly spend up to 3 hours just art a certain area trying to find all the hidden items, different pathways and such. I kept doing this until I beat the game. I beat the Soul Cinder, I beat just about every boss, I dreadfully beat the Nameless King. It was nonetheless hard, but I still did it. I was super proud of myself and I wanted to keep going, but seeing how none of the DLC had been released yet, I went back to where I first started back in 2014. After beating Dark Souls 3, I craved more. I couldn't stop myself, so I decided to jump back into the game that had beaten me so much 2 years prior that I got to the point of giving up on it. In my mind, I had actually thought that, hey, this is gonna be a piece of cake. I just beat Dark Souls 3, which was honestly pretty hard. How much harder can it get? I nonetheless was severely mistaken. I had triumphantly beat the demon that I had such difficulty with the 2 years ago before, back in 2014, the Taurus demon, but then I realized this was the easiest boss. It was easier than any other boss in Dark Souls 3, maybe other than like the Deacons of the Deep or something, but nonetheless, I beat it. I was super excited, and I decided to trek onward onto my path to victory in the country of Lordran. So after that, I just, like I said, kept going. I had made my way through the gargoyles and down to Andre. I had been eviscerated by the dreaded Hydra countless times while going to figure out where the shortcut was in the tower by Havel. Speaking of Havel, holy hell. When I saw him, I was like, oh, hey, he was in Dark Souls 3. He wasn't that hard to beat in there. I could just do it again. Then I realized my level in Dark Souls 3 when I fought Havel was way higher. I had better weapons, I had better gear, I was just completely better equipped to fight him. And so I ended up being smashed by that big damn dragon tooth. I don't even know how many times. I just kept going back trying to fight him, and then every single time I saw those taunting words, "You died," in big red letters, and I felt defeated. I couldn't beat someone that I beat like a week before, and I realized that I needed to be more humble with my approach to the game. So I left him alone and kept going and kept dying and dying and dying. But I kept going just because I couldn't pull myself out of Lordran. I don't know why, if I'm gonna be honest with you, I just felt like I needed to complete the game. I would end up finishing it around July 2016 and then not picking up another Dark Souls game for about 2 years, with the exception of maybe hopping on DS3 to screw around with some friends every now and then. Until I finally saw that Dark Souls 1, the game that had given me so much enjoyment and dread, was remastered in full HD on next-gen consoles. This reignited the flame, no pun intended, to get back and finish what I had started. I hadn't gotten the DLC for Dark Souls 3, and I deleted the files from my old character for some stupid reason. So I bought the Fire Fades edition since I didn't have any of my files, I had to basically just start anew. I went back into it pretty confident, thinking, hey, I just started this. I had beaten it before, I had fought these enemies countless times, I could just keep going. And then I realized that when you don't play Dark Souls for 2 years, you're gonna get smacked. Like, there's no arguing it. You're gonna get destroyed because you're not used to it. You gotta get in the zone, you gotta realize, hey, this game is like hard to master. It's really hard to master how to roll at certain times. I kept dying to the goons and bosses and everything that I knew like the back of my hand still, but I couldn't translate what I wanted to do into the game. And honestly, I was frustrated by the fact I couldn't just pick it up and play like I just finished it yesterday. I had to relearn the whole control stream while trying to get through the game as fast as possible so I could get to the juicy DLC that I had heard so much about. So I got a few friends on and I was like, hey, you want to come beat the DLC with me? I haven't played it yet and I really want to finish it. And they were down. We'd went and beat the Ashes of Ariandel within the first hour of playing it. And as if I hadn't learned my lesson countless times before, I got that sort of arrogant big ego that I had felt just 2 years prior after defeating Sister Fried. So we jumped into the Ring City. As soon as we started, I was in complete awe of how amazing the world looked. It was so dead yet alive. I could see the big angels in the distance. I could see just everything below me. It was kind of intimidating, but that's not new with this franchise. So we get to the first boss or bosses, which is those two demons. And I just realized that this is a whole new monster, this DLC was. I had to dodge giant lasers, claws, fire. It was intense. The three of us couldn't defeat him, so one of them just kind of gave up and left and went to do it on his own world and defeated them. But I wanted to keep going, so the other one stayed, and after about 10 tries, we finally defeated it. Fast forward to the end boss of the DLC. I thought the DLC was great, full of fun bosses, cool architecture, and really cool items, honestly. And as I had expected, this was an amazing send-off to such an amazing series that impacted my life so much, to the point where I'm making this video about it. But honestly, I didn't feel like it was completed. So I had just started running around the sunken city, just doing aimless stuff, trying to find every single nook and cranny that had something in it. I was going up an elevator that I'd gone up countless times before, and I had seen a little hole in the wall. And so I go back on it, I see the hole, I jump in it. I go down this hallway, I think I break an illusion, I can't really remember it that well, but nonetheless, I went down to this room. There were pews, an altar, and then behind the altar was this big gaping hole. And as you could tell from the kind of like shudder I had in my voice there, this was when I met Dark Eater Midir. I had met him before, but I felt like he wasn't that big of a deal, seeing how I killed him. I thought I'd killed him on the bridge, honestly, and I just thought he was like a kind of a side boss that would just kind of get in your way every now and then, like on the bridge, for example. But nonetheless, I had become face to face with something that I had seen countless times before, and I didn't know what to do. I was in this big arena underground where I couldn't run out. I had no homeward bones left, and I was honestly nervous because I knew I couldn't kill him because I had about 2 or 3 Estus flasks left. I had no Ashen Estus flask, so I couldn't heal myself with that. So I just kind of accepted my fate that I was gonna die, and I was honestly really like mad about it because I had 2 million souls on me because I had been meaning to level up for a pretty good time, but I just kept going. So I just accepted my fate, and those big red letters showed up once again, and my heart sank realizing this boss was tougher than anything else I'd fought before. I got my miracles ready and my best armor, weapons, spells for fighting dragon. I went down again and was just completely slaughtered, but I did recover my souls. I recovered them, put the sacrifice ring on, got them all back. So no harm, no foul, right? But it kept eating at me. That there's this big dragon below where I was standing, just taunting me. So I had to keep going. I kept going and dying dozens and dozens and dozens of times where I felt like just giving up. I'd even got my friends on to help me with it, but it was to no avail. 3 days after taking a break, because I was so frustrated with it, I got one of those friends, and I got someone off the LFG on Reddit, and I decided I'm finishing this fight right now, and I don't care. I got determined. I wanted to defeat this beast, and we got him down to half health. My sheer excitement was amazing. Then to a quarter, then an eighth. Then finally, with the great axe in my hand, I landed the killing blow on the single thing that had been taunting me to kill it for about a week now. And there I was, just standing there not knowing what's next. Then I realized it's finally all over. I let a sigh of relief out and just sat there. Because this series has done so much for me. It made me realize that no matter what it is, that there's stuff that can make you happy, whether it's making a video, playing a sport, or a game, drawing, or anything else, that there is something that you will enjoy in life. That you should stay motivated no matter what to see it through to the end. It impacted my life, and I hope this video helps you out in some way or form to help you find your purpose in life. Now, I know it's just a video about a video game, and it doesn't have much substance in this. But if this can help me, then there are certainly things that can help you. And if you're suffering from something that is in your head, go talk to someone. Talk to a parent, a friend, a family member, just anyone. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. This is the first video that I've ever made, and it's been a pretty fun experience, so I kind of want to do more. Thanks. Goodbye.